Okay, main event time. UFC Fight Night. Barboza versus Yusuff. Or, excuse me, Yusuff versus Barboza. Going down in the featherweight division. Sodiq Yusuff. Super Sodiq. The 30-year-old fighting out of Camp Springs, Maryland. He is 13-3 as a pro with 7 finishes. 6 of them knockouts. Coming off back-to-back wins. Coming into this weekend. Hasn't fought in just over a year. And he'll be standing across from the fighting legend himself, Edson Barboza, the 37-year-old out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He is 23-11 as a pro with 15 finishes in the cage, 14 of them knockouts. He got back in the win column back in April by knocking out Billy Quarantillo in April of this year. I will pick first in a rare move without hearing the odds. Let me say that I also like doing this. I like guessing. I have to guess that Sodiq is the favorite here, just given his record. He's coming off back-to-back wins. I'll guess that Sodiq is the favorite. I'll say he's like a 200 favorite, minus 200 favorite.
Little tighter than that. He's minus 165.
Oh, that's tighter. I'm going to go with the legend Edson Barboza. I said to you guys today on chat that I've just always been a fan of this guy. He seems like such a good guy to train as hard as he does, having young kids and a family, having young kids myself, to get anything done with young kids, to fucking take a shower and tie your shoes with young kids. God bless you. But no, I've always been a fan of this guy. Some of the best striking, some of the best Muay Thai, Omar, that you will ever see. Am I correct? Thank you. So I'm going to go with Edson Barboza. As for the method, I think it's going to be I'm going to think it's going to be a war. I hope it is. I hope it's a great fight. And I see Barboza coming away with his hand raised. Give me Edson Barboza notching another big name of his on his record as a win by decision. Omar, why don't you go? Just do it, buddy. Put you out of your misery. And just log off right away.
I do love Edson Barboza here, man. As far as his Muay Thai is concerned, one of the things I've always loved about Edson, even from years past, more so than the wheel kick, is his switch kick. His switch lead kick is disgusting. It's fast. It's horizontal. It's got power behind it. It's got hip rotation behind it. It's like probably one of the most perfect kicks I've ever seen. The way, to me, that Joe Rogan probably has a spinning back kick to the body on lock, probably one of the best iterations of that kick I've ever seen is thrown by Joe Rogan. This is the same way I feel about the lead switch kick in Edson Barboza. I mean, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that might as well just be his kick at this point. Like, that's just how you do the kick. Anyway, I think the fight's super interesting, man. I think Sodiq Yusuff presents a lot of problems for Barboza, right? I think Barboza gets into a habit sometimes of trying to stay on the outside, especially with his length, trying to throw things from an outside position. But when he gets crowded, a lot of times he ends up on the cage, and a lot of times he can lose a fight trying to stay away and not trying to fight, where he sometimes gets forced to fight. And I think Yusuff is going to want to close the distance quite a bit in this fight. I don't think he's going to want to play at range with Barboza for too long, though I expect him to probably a little bit. So I'm hoping Barboza has seen those opportunities, but I have no intention of picking against Barboza. So I will go with Barboza here, round 3 KO.
Wow. 2 guys on the dog. So, yeah, Yusuff is minus 165, as I said. Edson is plus 140. There are 2 inches of height and 4 inches of reach on the side of Edson Barboza here, so that is not negligible. He's 37 years old, which, Mike, I don't know if you knew that before you made your pick. Almost 38 as a featherweight. And I, too, do not care. I will not get off the Edson Barboza train until I am absolutely forced off of it. Sodiq is really good and really poised, and if this goes to a decision, there's a strong chance that it goes his way. But he is going to be willing to strike with Edson Barboza. That's what this fight is going to be. And I just don't know if I believe that his striking is dynamic enough, as successful as he is with it, to not eventually get hurt by Edson Barboza across 25 minutes. I still think Edson is good enough and fast enough to find an opening as this fight goes on. Plus, he's the bigger man in general and has that height and reach to lean on, as I was just saying. So I could see Sodiq winning this fight, maybe through 10 or so minutes. And then in round 3 or 4, something like that, Edson finds something. I just think he'll look for weaknesses in the defense as the fight goes on, get Sadiq's timing down, and I'll say he lands a body shot in the third, swarms, and puts Sodiq out. So Edson Barboza, round 3, TKO.
I thought you were going to take Sodiq.
No, sir.
I'm trying to help you out, man.
We don't do that here.
Real quick, just looking at Barboza's record. If you look at his record over the past few years, it looks like he's been so up and down, and it is not great. There's quite a bit of red on the record. But just looking at those, okay, he lost to Khabib in 2017, and that's understandable because it's Khabib, and Khabib is like the uber wrestler, and Khabib's going to do to a striker like Barboza what he's going to do. Then he got TKO by Kevin Lee. I'll consider that a little bit more of a. I mean, Kevin Lee in 2018 was really more prime Kevin Lee.
Yeah,
he got
it was the wrestling then too.
Yeah, he got bested by Justin Gaethje by a knockout in 2 minutes. Then he loses 2 splits to Felder and Dan Ige. Those are both. I remember both very close fights.
Yeah, you could argue he won them both.
The only guys to really defeat him with striking were Gaethje in 2019 and Giga more recently in 2021. And what you mentioned, like, does Sodiq have dynamic enough striking? Giga definitely is a guy who you would think of who's going to compete with Barboza. And then he lost to Bryce because Bryce is, again, he's like the American Khabib. So, yeah, I mean, your assessment of, like, Sodiq is going to, A, want to stand with Barboza, but B, is he dynamic enough of a striker to hang with Barboza?
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. As much as, we're all picking Barboza here, but if he's fighting a wrestler, we probably aren't. But even at 37 years old, to pick a striker to beat Edson Barboza, you got to believe that striker is pretty damn good. And I don't know that I'm there yet with Sodiq. And maybe we're going to realize on Saturday that we should be. But I'll ride Barboza once more.
Okay.
Nice choice of words.
Let's end with the